I stood in my childhood bedroom, staring at an empty college savings jar that once held $18,000 in cash. My younger sister Harper just confessed she took every penny for a luxury shopping spree, and our parents were downstairs laughing about it, calling me too serious and saying, "Harper deserves to have fun." I was 18, about to start college in 3 months, and the money represented 4 years of my working double shifts at a diner since I was 14. My carefully planned future just crumbled in 60 seconds. My hands shook as I gripped the empty jar. The weight of it felt like mockery now, light as air when it should have been heavy with years of sacrifice. I set it down carefully on my dresser and walked downstairs, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The living room looked like a designer boutique had exploded. Shopping bags covered every surface. Harper sat on the couch, surrounded by tissue paper and boxes, holding up a pair of red heels that probably cost more than I made in a month at the diner. Mom and Dad sat on either side of her, admiring her haul like she had just won some kind of prize. I stopped in the doorway. "We need to talk about this." My mother, Linda, barely glanced at me. "Oh, Fanny, don't start. Harper just wanted to treat herself." Treat herself. My voice came out higher than I intended. That was my college fund. 4 years of savings. $18,000. My father, Greg, sighed like I was being tedious. "If you cared that much about it, you should have kept it in a bank." Cash sitting in a jar in your room? That's just asking for trouble. I felt like I had been slapped. It was locked in my room. How did she even get in? Harper smirked, examining her new manicure. The nails were long, painted a glossy pink, decorated with tiny crystals. "Does it matter?" "Yes, it matters." I stepped into the room. That money was for tuition at State University. I start in 3 months. I need that money. Linda waved her hand dismissively. "You can just get student loans like everyone else." "You're smart, Fanny. You'll figure it out." "Student loans." I stared at her. "I worked since I was 14 specifically so I wouldn't have to drown in debt." Greg leaned back in his chair. "You've always been the smart one. Scholarships should be easy for you. Your sister, on the other hand, she needs things like this. It boosts her confidence." Harper held up a designer handbag, turning it to catch the light. "Besides, you dress like a homeless person anyway. You wouldn't even know what to do with nice things." The casual cruelty in her voice made something crack inside me. I looked at my parents, waiting for them to defend me, to tell Harper that was too far. They said nothing. Mom smiled at the handbag. "This is unbelievable," I whispered. "What's unbelievable?" Linda said. "Is that you're making such a fuss? Family shares everything, Fanny. That's what we do." I thought about all the times I had shared. I thought about working double shifts while Harper slept in. I thought about riding my used bicycle to work in the rain while Harper drove the car our parents bought her for her 16th birthday. I thought about every tip I had carefully folded and saved while Harper received a weekly allowance she spent on makeup and clothes. "I worked for that money," I said quietly. "Every single dollar. And now Harper got to enjoy it." Greg said. "What's done is done. Move on." Harper pulled out her phone and started scrolling, already bored with the conversation. I saw her social media feed, pictures of her and her friends at the mall, posing with shopping bags, flashing peace signs, and duck faces. The posts had hundreds of likes. The captions bragged about her haul. "Take the stuff back," I said. "Return everything. Get the money back." Harper looked up. "Can't." "Wore it already? Tags are gone." "All of it?" "In one day," she shrugged. "I had a fashion show with my friends. We tried everything on. It was fun. My mother actually laughed." "That sounds lovely, sweetie." I turned to my father. "Dad, please. I need that money for school." He met my eyes, and for a moment I thought I saw something like guilt there. Then it passed. "You'll manage, Fanny. You always do." That's when the real truth hit me. They weren't going to help. They never planned to help. I had been so stupid, keeping cash in my room, thinking I was safe in my own home with my own family. "How did she get into my locked room?" I asked again, my voice shaking. Silence. "Mom." Linda looked away. "I may have given her the spare key." The room spun. "You what?" she asked nicely. She said she wanted to borrow something. And you just gave it to her? You let her into my private space. It's our house. Fanny, Greg said. There's no such thing as private space under our roof. I looked at Harper. She was smiling now, not even pretending to hide it. You planned this, I said. All of you. Don't be dramatic, Linda said. We didn't plan anything. Harper mentioned she wanted to go shopping, and I thought, well, you have all that money just sitting there. You're going to college. You'll get loans and scholarships. Harper needed something now. The words landed like physical blows. My own mother had helped my sister steal from me. This wasn't just Harper being impulsive. This was a coordinated betrayal. I can't believe this, I said. Harper stood up, gathering some of her shopping bags. Believe it. And next time, hide your stuff better. Not my problem, you're careless. She walked past me, carrying her designer goods upstairs to her room. Our parents watched her go with fond smiles. I stood there, alone in the living room with them, and realized with horrible clarity that I had always been alone in this family. Harper was the fun one, the pretty one, the one they indulged and protected. I was the responsible one, the one who didn't need help, the one who could handle anything. They had decided my future mattered less than Harper's shopping spree. I'm going to call the police. Greg's expression hardened. And tell them what? That your sister took money from our house? We're her parents. We gave her permission to access your room. It's not theft. It's my money. Prove it, Linda said. Do you have bank statements? Receipts showing you earned it? Or is it just cash that could have come from anywhere? I had been so careful to save in cash because I didn't want to deal with bank fees on a small account. Now I saw how foolish that had been. I had no paper trail, no proof, just an empty jar and a broken heart. You really aren't going to help me, I said. We are helping you, Greg said. We're teaching you a valuable lesson about responsibility and security. Consider it education. I turned and walked out of the room before they could see me cry. The next 2 weeks were a nightmare. I tried everything I could think of to fix this. I went to the stores where Harper shopped, carrying the receipts I had found crumpled in her trash can. Most places refused returns without tags. The few that might have considered it changed their minds when they saw the condition of the items. Harper had worn the clothes, scuffed the shoes, and used the makeup. One store manager looked at me with pity but shook his head. I'm sorry, he said. There's nothing I can do. I went to the police station. The officer behind the desk listened to my story with a neutral expression. Did she break into your room? He asked. My mother gave her the key. And your mother lives in the house? Yes. Then it's not breaking and entering. It's a civil matter. A family dispute, but it's theft. He sighed. Look, I understand you're upset, but legally, if your parents gave permission for your sister to enter a room in their house, that's their right as homeowners. The money wasn't in a bank account in your name. You'd have to prove it was yours. And even then, you'd need to sue in civil court. Sue my own family. If you want the money back, yes. I left the station feeling sick. I couldn't afford a lawyer. I couldn't prove the money was mine beyond my own word. And even if I could, dragging my family to court would cost more than $18,000 in legal fees. I called my Aunt Diane, my mother's sister. She had always seemed kind. Fanny, sweetie, she said when she answered. Your mom told me you two had a little disagreement. A little disagreement? I almost laughed. Harper stole my college fund. Now. That's a strong word. Your sister made a mistake. She's young. She's 16. She knows right from wrong. Family forgives, Fanny. That's what we do. You're being very dramatic about this. I tried my Uncle Ross next. He told me I was jealous of Harper's beauty and popularity. I tried my grandmother. She said Harper was still young and made a mistake. But I should be the bigger person. Every single person sided with my parents and Harper. Every single one told me to let it go, to forgive, to move on. Nobody offered to help me pay for college. Nobody offered to talk to Harper about returning the items. Nobody seemed to think what happened was wrong. I sat at my desk in my room, staring at my college acceptance letter from State University. The deposit deadline was in 2 weeks. After that, I would need to pay the first semester's tuition. I had exactly $732 in tips from the past 2 weeks of work. I called the university financial aid office. "I need to know about emergency loans or late scholarships," I said. The woman on the phone was kind but firm. "Most scholarship deadlines have passed. We have some student loans available, but you'll need a cosigner for the amounts you're talking about." "What if I can't get a cosigner?" "Then you'd be limited to federal loans, which might not cover your full costs." I hung up and put my head in my hands. I could ask my parents to cosign. I already knew what they would say. I tried anyway that night at dinner. "Absolutely not," Greg said. "You need to learn responsibility. If you want to go to college, you'll figure out how to pay for it yourself." "But you're going to pay for Harper's college," I said. Linda looked up from her plate. "Harper has different needs than you. She'll need our support." "What about my needs?" "You're self-sufficient, Fanny. You always have been." I excused myself from the table and went back to my room. Through the wall, I could hear Harper on the phone with a friend, laughing about something. "My best friend Jessica called that night. I heard what happened," she said. "I'm so sorry, Fanny." "Thanks. Look, I have about $3,000 saved up. It's yours if you need it." I felt tears spring to my eyes. "Jess, I can't take your money." "Why not?" "We're friends." "Real friends help each other. It's too much. And you were saving for your own stuff. Nothing as important as your education. Please, let me help." I wanted to say yes so badly, but I couldn't do that to her. "I appreciate it more than you know, but I need to figure this out on my own." After we hung up, I lay in bed and did the math over and over. Even working double shifts at the diner, I couldn't save enough in 3 months. I would have to defer enrollment. The thought made me want to scream. 3 days before the tuition deposit deadline, I saw Harper getting ready for another shopping trip. "Where are you going?" I asked. "Mall," she said, applying lip gloss. "It's my birthday next week, and Grandma sent me $500. "You're going shopping again? Why not?" She smiled at herself in the mirror. I deserve nice things. I followed her downstairs, where our parents were waiting to drive her. "You can't be serious," I said. "After what she did, you're taking her shopping again." "It's her birthday money," Linda said. "She can spend it however she wants." "Did you know she's applying to private colleges?" Harper said from the doorway. "Really expensive ones. And Mom and Dad already said they'd pay." The world went red at the edges. "You'll pay for her but not help me." "Harper needs more support," Greg said. "You're independent." "She's not." "You mean I'm not the favorite?" "Don't be childish, Fanny." Harper waved at me as they left. "Try not to be jealous while I'm gone." I stood in the empty house and felt something inside me break completely. They had money. They had always had money. They just didn't want to spend it on me. That night, I made a decision. If they wouldn't help me, I would help myself. And I would do it without them. I spent the next week looking for a room to rent. I couldn't afford much. But I found a listing online that seemed promising. An elderly woman named Dorothy was renting a small bedroom in her house across town for $300 a month. In exchange for the low rent, she needed help with housework and yard maintenance. I called her, and we arranged a meeting. Dorothy's house was a small, neat bungalow with a well-kept garden. She answered the door with a warm smile, her white hair pulled back in a tidy bun. "You must be Fanny," she said. "Come in, dear." The house smelled like lavender and fresh bread. She showed me the room, a small space with a single bed, a dresser, and a window overlooking the garden. "It's not much," she said, "but it's clean and quiet." "It's perfect," I said, and I meant it. We talked for over an hour. I told her about my situation, the stolen college fund, the family betrayal. She listened without judgment. "I had a similar experience when I was your age," she said finally. "My own family chose sides against me. It took me years to recover. But I did recover. And you will too." "How?" "By choosing yourself. By building a life that belongs to you." I moved in the following weekend. I didn't tell my parents where I was going. I packed only what I had bought with my own money. Everything I had brought into that house myself. I left behind anything they had purchased, even my childhood stuffed animals. The night before I moved, my mother went through my room and found my packed bags. She called a family meeting in the living room. "What is this?" she demanded, gesturing at my duffel bag. "I'm moving out." "Moving out? You're 18. Where do you think you're going?" "I found a room to rent." Greg stood up. "Absolutely not. You live under our roof, and you'll continue to do so." "Why?" "So you can control me? So Harper can steal from me again." "Watch your tone," he said. Linda crossed her arms. "If you're working 2 jobs like you claim, then you should contribute to this household. We've decided you need to pay rent." "Rent. $600 a month," Greg said. "That's fair for room and board." I stared at them. Harper sat on the couch, smirking. They had never asked her for a single dollar. She had never paid for gas, groceries, or utilities. But they wanted me to pay $600 a month while Harper lived free. "Let me get this straight," I said slowly. "Harper steals $18,000 from me. You help her do it. And now you want me to pay you $600 a month to continue living here?" "That's correct," Greg said. "We've drawn up an agreement." He handed me a piece of paper. I scanned it. It outlined my responsibilities, payment schedule, and consequences for late payment. They had actually typed it up, printed it, and signed it. "You see us as a resource," I said quietly. "You see me as someone to exploit. We see you as an adult who needs to contribute," Linda said. Harper laughed from the couch. "Just admit you're jealous that I'm the favorite and move on." I looked at my sister, at my parents, at the document in my hands. "I'm not signing this," I said. "And I'm moving out tomorrow." "You're being selfish," Linda said. "After everything we've done for you? What have you done for me? Name one thing." She faltered. "Couldn't name anything." "We raised you," Greg said. "Fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head. That's what we did. That's the bare minimum of being a parent," I said. "That's not something I should spend my life repaying you for." I walked upstairs, grabbed my bags, and walked out the front door. I loaded everything into my used car, the one I had bought myself with my own money. As I drove away, I didn't look back. Dorothy helped me unpack that night. She made me tea and sat with me while I cried. "You did the right thing," she said. "Then why does it hurt so much?" "Because you loved them, and they didn't love you the way you deserved." The first few months living with Dorothy were hard but healing. I worked full-time at the diner, picking up every shift I could. On weekends, I worked as a cashier at the grocery store across town. The money was tight, but I was saving again. My parents called constantly at first. I blocked their numbers. Harper sent texts calling me ungrateful and dramatic. I blocked her too. Aunt Diane tried to guilt me into coming back. I blocked her as well. Slowly, the noise faded, and in the silence, I started to rebuild. Dorothy became more than a landlord. She became family. She taught me how to cook real meals, how to budget properly, how to garden. In the evenings, we would sit on her porch and talk about life. "I left my family 40 years ago," she told me one night. "My parents chose my brother over me in a dispute about my inheritance. I walked away with nothing but my dignity. Do you regret it? Not for a single day. I built a beautiful life without them. I traveled. I met wonderful people. I became a teacher. I found peace." She smiled. "You'll find your peace too, Fanny." At the grocery store, I became friends with a coworker named Bryn. She was funny and kind, with bright red hair and an infectious laugh. We started having lunch together on our breaks. "You should meet my brother," she said one day. "Aaron works at a tech company downtown. He's single and nice." "Well, mostly nice." I laughed. "I'm not really looking to date right now." "I'm not trying to set you up," she said. "I just think you two would be friends. He's into business stuff like you are." I met Aaron the following week at a coffee shop. Bryn was right. We clicked immediately, talking for 3 hours about everything from college plans to career goals to favorite books. My company has a great tuition reimbursement program, he mentioned. They pay 75% of tuition for employees who study business or tech-related fields. Really? Yeah. We're always looking for good administrative staff. Have you thought about applying? I hadn't. But that conversation changed everything. I applied to Aaron's company the next day. 2 weeks later, I had an interview. 1 week after that, I was hired as an administrative assistant. The pay was better than both my other jobs combined. I quit the grocery store and cut back to weekend shifts only at the diner. And best of all, the company would pay for most of my college tuition. I enrolled in night classes at community college for business administration. The company covered 75% of the cost. I used my savings for the rest. Finally, after a year of working and waiting, I was back on track. School was hard while working full-time, but I loved it. I made the dean's list my first semester, then my second, then my third. After 1 year at community college, I had enough credits to transfer to State University as planned. Between the company's tuition program and some small scholarships I earned, the cost was minimal. I was going to make it, without my family's money, without their help, without their approval. One afternoon during my second year at State, I stopped at a coffee shop near campus to study. I was reading a chapter about organizational behavior when I heard a familiar voice. Fanny. I looked up. Harper stood in front of me, holding a coffee cup. My mother stood beside her. I hadn't seen either of them in over 3 years. Harper looked completely different. She was heavier, her hair dull and pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore sweatpants and a stained t-shirt. No designer clothes, no makeup. She looked exhausted. Linda looked older, her face lined with stress and anger. "Hi," I said carefully. "You look good," Harper said. There was no warmth in her voice. "College treating you well?" "It is. Must be nice," Linda said. "Having everything work out?" I didn't respond. I noticed Harper's hand resting on her stomach, a small bump visible beneath her shirt. "Are you pregnant?" I asked. "Yeah," Harper said. 6 months. Congratulations. "Don't," Linda snapped. "Don't pretend to care." I closed my textbook. "What do you want?" "We need to talk about you coming home," Linda said. "I'm not coming home. Harper needs help," Linda said. "The baby's father left. She dropped out of school. You're her sister. You need to step up." I looked at Harper. "Did you drop out of high school?" She looked away. "I had other priorities." "What about those private colleges you were applying to?" "They rejected me," she muttered. "I didn't apply anywhere else." "And now she's stuck," Linda said. "We need you to come home and help with the baby. You're doing well. You have a good job. You can support the family." I felt that old familiar anger rise up. "You want me to support you. It's your duty as an aunt," Linda said. "Family takes care of family." Where was that energy when Harper stole my college fund? "That was years ago," Linda said. "You need to let it go." "Has she apologized?" Silence. I looked at Harper. "Have you apologized for stealing $18,000 from me?" Harper's jaw clenched. "I was young. I made a mistake. That's not an apology." "Fine," Harper shouted. "I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I took your stupid money. Is that what you want to hear?" "What I want," I said calmly, "is for you to leave me alone. I'm not coming home. I'm not helping raise your baby. I'm not supporting the family. You made your choices. I made mine." Linda's face turned red. "You're heartless. Absolutely heartless." "No," I said. "I'm healthy. There's a difference." I gathered my things and stood up. Harper grabbed my arm. "Please," she said. "I really messed up. I need help." I looked down at her hand on my arm, then met her eyes. "You taught me an important lesson, Harper. You taught me that taking from others has no consequences, that family doesn't matter, that looking out for yourself is all that counts." I pulled my arm free. "So that's what I'm doing. Looking out for myself." I walked out of the coffee shop and didn't look back. Later that night, sitting on Dorothy's porch, I told her what happened. How do you feel? She asked. Good, I said. And I meant it. I feel good. The next 4 years passed in a blur of work, school, and growth. I graduated from State University with honors, a bachelor's degree in business administration. My company promoted me twice during that time. By the time I was 25, I was an operations manager making $75,000 a year. I bought a small condo in a quiet neighborhood. Dorothy helped me decorate, bringing plants and homemade curtains. Erin helped me paint the walls. Bryn threw me a housewarming party. My life was full and happy in ways I had never imagined possible. Erin and I started dating seriously in my senior year of college. He was patient and kind, everything I needed. We took things slow, building a foundation of friendship and trust. After 2 years together, he proposed on Dorothy's porch, the place where I had healed and grown. I said yes. We planned a simple wedding for the following spring. Dorothy would walk me down the aisle. Bryn would be my maid of honor. I had a family now, one I had chosen, one that chose me back. Through mutual acquaintances and occasional social media glimpses, I heard updates about my birth family. None of it was good. Harper struggled as a single mother. The baby, a boy she named Tyler, was difficult. She worked part-time at a fast food restaurant, barely making minimum wage. She lived with our parents, who supported her financially. Greg had lost his job during company downsizing 2 years ago. He was struggling to find new employment at his age. Linda's health was declining. She had diabetes now, poorly managed, with mounting medical bills. The house was falling apart. They couldn't afford repairs. The yard was overgrown. The roof leaked. Harper's son Tyler had behavioral issues. He needed therapy they couldn't afford. The family was drowning in debt, sinking deeper every month. I felt a pang of sadness when I heard these things. Not because I wanted to help, but because it was such a waste. They could have had something different. They could have built each other up instead of tearing me down. But they made their choices. I continued building my life. I enrolled in an online master's program in business management. Erin and I talked about starting a family in a few years. Dorothy's health was good, and she was excited about being a grandmother figure to our future children. Everything was peaceful. Everything was good. Then Aunt Diane called. I almost didn't answer. I had her number blocked, but she called from a different number. I picked up without checking. Fanny, thank God, she said. It's your father. He had a heart attack. He's in the hospital. My stomach dropped. Is he okay? He needs surgery. It's serious. The medical bills are already at $90,000. Your mother is beside herself. Harper can't help. We need you. Need me for what? To pay for it, she said, like it was obvious. You're the only one who's successful. You have a good job. You can afford it. I sat down slowly. You want me to pay for his surgery? Has your father, Fanny? I know what happened years ago was wrong. I know your family made mistakes. But this is life or death. Family forgives. Family helps. Has anyone apologized? Silence. Has my father apologized for helping Harper steal my college fund? Has my mother apologized for giving her the key to my room? Has Harper apologized for anything? This isn't the time for grudges, Diane said. A man's life is at stake. And where was everyone when my life was at stake? When my future was stolen? When I was 18 and desperate? That was different. How? She couldn't answer. I need to think about this, I said. There's no time to think. He needs surgery now. Then I suggest you all figure it out. Like you told me to do when I needed help. I hung up. Erin found me sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. What's wrong? He asked. I told him everything. He listened quietly, then sat beside me. What do you want to do? He asked. I don't know. Do you want to help them? Part of me does, I admitted. He's still my father, even if he was a terrible one. But another part of me remembers being 18 and crying because my entire future was stolen. I remember them laughing at me. You don't owe them anything, Erin said, but you need to do what lets you sleep at night. I talked to Dorothy that evening. She made me tea and held my hand. Forgiveness doesn't mean accepting abuse, she said. Helping doesn't require sacrificing yourself. You can set boundaries and still have compassion. What would you do? "I'd do what protects your peace," she said. "Nothing more, nothing less." I thought about it for 3 days, then I made a decision. I drove to the hospital. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. I found my father's room on the 3rd floor, cardiac unit. Through the small window in the door, I could see Linda sitting beside his bed, her head in her hands. Harper sat in the corner, holding Tyler, who was squirming and fussing. I knocked and entered. Linda's head snapped up. For a moment, hope flooded her face. Then she started crying. "Fanny," she said. "Oh, thank God. Thank God you came." Greg lay in the hospital bed, looking smaller than I remembered. His skin was gray, his breathing labored. Monitors beeped steadily beside him. He opened his eyes when he heard my name. "Fanny." "Hi, Dad. You came to help." His voice was weak. "I came to talk." Harper stood up, shifting Tyler to her hip. He was 5 now, a small boy with sticky hands and a runny nose. "About time you showed up." I ignored her and pulled a chair close to the bed. Linda watched me with desperate eyes. "I need to say something first," I said, "and I need all of you to listen. This isn't the time." Linda started. "It's exactly the time," I said firmly. "You want my help. You want my money. The least you can do is listen." Greg nodded weakly. "Say what you need to say." I took a deep breath. When I was 18 years old, I had a college fund, $18,000. I earned every penny working double shifts at a diner for 4 years. I saved it in cash in a jar in my locked room because I trusted my family. Linda looked away. "Harper stole it," I continued. "She took every penny and spent it on clothes and shoes and makeup in a single shopping spree. And you two helped her. Mom gave her the key to my room. Dad told me it was my fault for not keeping it in a bank. You both told me to get student loans while you promised to pay for Harper's private college." "We made mistakes," Linda whispered. "You made choices." I corrected. "You chose Harper over me. You always did. When I asked for help, you laughed. When I begged you to make her return the items, you said she deserved to have fun. When I needed a cosigner for student loans, you refused and told me to learn responsibility." Harper shifted uncomfortably. "Can we not do this now?" "Yes, we're doing this now," I said. "Because you want something from me. You want me to pay for Dad's surgery. You want me to fix this problem like I fixed my own problems, when you all abandoned me." "We didn't abandon you," Greg said weakly. "You did," I said. "And I want you to understand what happened after you did. I want you to know what my life was like." I told them everything. The deferment of college, the 3 jobs, the tiny room I rented, the nights crying myself to sleep, the loneliness of being cut off from my entire family because I refused to accept their mistreatment. I told them about Dorothy, who took me in and treated me like a daughter. "I was terrible to you. We're sorry," Linda said. "We're so sorry, Fanny. We were wrong. About all of it." "Are you sorry?" I asked. "Or are you just scared?" She didn't answer. I looked at Harper. "What about you? Are you sorry?" Harper's jaw clenched. "I was a kid. I didn't understand what I was doing. You were 16. You knew exactly what you were doing. And you've never once apologized." "Not really. Not sincerely." "Fine," Harper snapped. "I'm sorry I took your money. I'm sorry I ruined your plans. I'm sorry for everything. Is that what you want?" "What I want is honesty," I said. "And that's not it." Aunt Diane burst into the room. "Fanny! Finally! Did you bring a check? How much can you contribute? The surgery is scheduled for tomorrow and we need to pay the deposit." I stood up. "I'm not paying for the surgery." The room went silent. "What?" Linda stared at me. "But you have the money. You have a good job." "I do have money," I said. "Money I earned. Money I saved. Money that belongs to me." "Hez your father," Diane shouted. "He could die." "I know," I said calmly. "And I've thought about that. I've thought about what kind of person I want to be, what kind of daughter I am, even to parents who failed me." I pulled a folder from my bag. I contacted the hospital financial counselor. Her name is Patricia Miller. She's expecting your call. I handed the folder to Linda. Inside is information about payment plans, charity care programs, and state assistance for medical bills. Your family qualifies for several programs that can reduce the bill significantly. Linda opened the folder with shaking hands. I've already paid for a consultation with a financial advisor who specializes in medical debt, I continued. They'll help you navigate the system, apply for assistance, and set up a manageable payment plan. The consultation is this Thursday at 2 o'clock. The address is in there, but why won't you just pay it? Diane demanded. You have the money. Because that's not helping, I said. That's enabling. That's me sacrificing my financial security to bail out people who never helped me when I needed it. We're family, Linda cried. No, I said. Family protects each other. Family supports each other. Family doesn't steal from each other and laugh about it. You taught me that family doesn't help family. Those were your exact words when I needed you. I'm giving you more than you gave me. I'm giving you resources, information, and tools to help yourselves. This is cruel, Diane said. Hez dying and you're being cruel and vindictive. I'm being honest, I said. And I'm setting boundaries. I will not set myself on fire to keep you warm. I worked too hard to build my life, to destroy it now. Greg spoke quietly. She's right. Everyone turned to look at him. She's right, he repeated. We don't deserve her help. We don't deserve her forgiveness. We made our choices. We have to live with them. Don't say that, Linda sobbed. I'm saying what's true, Greg said. He looked at me, and I saw something I had never seen before. Genuine remorse. I'm sorry, Fanny, for all of it. You deserved better parents, better family. I understand why you're doing this. And I'm sorry it came to this. I felt my throat tighten. I hope you use the resources I gave you. I hope you get the help you need. I hope you recover. But you're not staying, he said. No, I said. I'm not. I turned to Harper. I hope you figure out how to be a better mother to Tyler than our parents were to us. I hope you teach him that actions have consequences. I hope you teach him to value people, not things. Harper's face crumpled. I really am sorry, she whispered. I know you don't believe me, but I am. Maybe someday I will believe you, I said. But not today. I walked to the door. Diane blocked my path. You're just going to leave, she said. You're just going to walk away while your father needs surgery. Yes, I said. I'm going to walk away, just like all of you walked away from me when I needed help. The only difference is, I'm leaving you with resources and options. You left me with nothing. I stepped around her and left the room. Behind me, I heard Linda crying and Diane shouting. I heard Harper trying to calm Tyler, who had started wailing. I heard the monitors beeping steadily. I walked down the hallway, through the lobby, and out into the parking lot. A few cousins reached out privately to say they understood, but they wouldn't say so publicly. I realized I didn't need their approval anymore. I didn't need them to understand. I just needed to be at peace with my own choices. Aaron and I got married in April. It was a small ceremony in Dorothy's garden, surrounded by flowers and the people who truly loved us. Dorothy walked me down the aisle, her arm steady in mine. Bryn stood beside me as my maid of honor, her red hair bright in the spring sunshine. I wore a simple white dress and carried wildflowers. Aaron cried when he saw me. We exchanged vows we had written ourselves, promising to choose each other every day, to build a life based on respect and genuine love. Our chosen family celebrated with us, co-workers, friends from college, Aaron's family, all the people who had supported us. It was perfect. My birth family was not invited. I felt no guilt about that. My career continued to flourish. I was promoted to director level at 30, managing a team of 20 people. My salary increased to $95,000 a year. Aaron and I bought a larger house with a yard big enough for future children and a guest room for Dorothy, who was getting older and needed more support. We started a scholarship fund in partnership with State University. We called it the Second Chance Scholarship. It provided full tuition for the first year of college to 3 students annually, specifically targeting students from difficult family situations who were working to put themselves through school. I volunteered as a mentor for the scholarship recipients, meeting with them, hearing their stories, watching them succeed. It healed something deep inside me. I couldn't change what happened to me, but I could help others facing similar struggles. One afternoon, 6 months after my wedding, I received a letter in the mail. The return address was unfamiliar. I opened it carefully. It was from Harper. The letter was 3 pages long, handwritten in shaky script. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for help. She just apologized. She wrote about going to therapy, about working on herself, about trying to be a better mother to Tyler. She wrote about how stealing my college fund was the worst thing she ever did, how it set her on a path of entitlement and self-destruction that nearly ruined her life. She wrote about realizing that our parents' favoritism damaged both of us, just in different ways. It gave her everything without making her earn anything, which meant she never learned the value of work or consequences. She wrote that she was enrolled in a GED program now, studying for her high school equivalency. She had dreams of going to community college, of building a better life for Tyler. She wrote that she understood if I never forgave her. She just wanted me to know she was sorry, truly and deeply sorry, and she was trying to change. I read the letter 3 times. Then I sat down and wrote back. I told her that forgiveness was a process, not a moment. I told her I appreciated her apology, but trust had to be rebuilt slowly. I said I was willing to meet for coffee in 6 months, if she continued therapy and kept working on herself. I told her I hoped she succeeded, for Tyler's sake and her own. I didn't promise reconciliation. I didn't promise to forget what happened. But I offered a small window, a possibility of peace. That night, I sat on my porch with Aaron, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. Dorothy had gone to bed early, and the neighborhood was quiet. Do you think you'll ever have a relationship with them again? Aaron asked. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe with Harper someday, if she really does change, but it won't ever be what it was. And that's okay. You seem at peace with it. I am, I said. I spent so many years angry, so many years hurt, but I'm not that person anymore. I'm not the 18-year-old girl crying over an empty jar. I'm someone who built a life from nothing, someone who chose love over bitterness, someone who knows her worth. He took my hand. You're amazing. I'm just me, I said. And that's enough. I thought about that younger version of myself, standing in her childhood bedroom, staring at that empty jar. If I could go back and talk to her, I would tell her this. The pain you're feeling right now is real and valid. The betrayal cuts deep. But you're stronger than you know. You will survive this. You will build something beautiful from these ashes. You will learn that blood doesn't make family. Love makes family. Respect makes family. Showing up for each other makes family. You will learn to set boundaries without guilt, to say no without apology, to choose yourself without shame. You will learn that the best revenge is not revenge at all. It's living well. It's finding joy. It's building a life so good that you wouldn't trade it for anything, not even to undo the pain that brought you here. You will learn that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, that you can wish people well from a distance, that you can have compassion without sacrificing your peace. Most importantly, you will learn that you are enough, exactly as you are, not because of what you achieve or how much you earn or how successful you become, but because you're you, and you deserve love and respect and kindness. The struggle will make you strong. The pain will make you wise. The betrayal will teach you who you are when everything is stripped away. And who you are, at your core, is someone worth fighting for. I squeezed Aaron's hand and smiled. Somewhere in the distance, a bird sang. The evening air was warm and gentle. Tomorrow I would go to work, mentor a scholarship student, have dinner with Bryn, and come home to this house, this life, this peace. I wouldn't change a thing, because that empty jar led me here, to this porch, to this man, to this family I chose and built with my own hands. And here, finally, was exactly where I belonged. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever faced a situation where your own family betrayed your trust? How did you handle it? Did you choose to walk away or try to rebuild the relationship? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who's going through something similar. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button. It helps others find these stories and know they're not alone. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more real-life stories about overcoming family challenges, setting boundaries, and building the life you deserve. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes we all need a reminder that it's okay to choose ourselves, to set boundaries, and to walk away from toxicity, even when it's family. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it brought you comfort, strength, or at least the knowledge that you're not alone in your struggles. Remember, you deserve respect, love, and kindness. Never settle for less. Take care of yourselves out there. Choose your peace, build your happiness, and never apologize for protecting your heart. Until next time.